Welcome to Mike Brown Barbecue. Today we're going to smoke brisket and ribs on this 250-gallon offset smoker for my 4th of July. Stay tuned. Alright folks, Mike Brown Barbecue is back. It is 2 days before the 4th of July, and what I have right here is some pork spare ribs. So I figured while I got them broke out on the smoker, I'll do a video on them. I've only ever shot one video on pork spare ribs, so I want to do another one to show you guys how I've evolved since the last time we did this. Key thing is here to start out with a good quality piece of meat. That's what this is. These are all natural spare ribs from the local HEB. They weren't the best of quality, but it's what I could find. I can notice a few little bones poking through right there, which are called shiners, but I think we'll be fine. I've got 2 racks. What I like to do is come down here on this breastbone right here, cut it out, just like that. Remove it. That'll be a little pit master snack for later. And then I like to come down right here, just trim that little hump off right there. Kind of get it uniform and round it off. That's all I'm going to do to the top side. We'll flip this around. I like to come right here and trim off dirt right here on the back of the ribs. It really doesn't serve no purpose other than just being thin. It's going to crisp up, and it don't do nothing if you leave it on there. But if you choose to do so, it's your business. So what I like to do is I like to keep my ribs uniform. I'll come down here. I got one little bone right here sticking off, so I come down here and I go ahead and I take that bone off right there, kind of round that corner off a little bit, and then I come down here. This is real thin right here. I like to come one bone up, maybe even 2. I think I can get away with 1 right here and square that off, and then round that little corner off right there. That makes for a nice uniform rib. That's pretty simple right there. Just a simple trim. I don't need to do much to the top side here. Everything looks good. So now we'll just get her seasoned up. I'll flip it back down, around to my membrane side, and hit it with some black pepper. Just like that. A liberal coat. Give it a good pat in. And as always, this part hadn't changed. I'm going to hit it with the seasonal salt, Fiesta. Put a decent coat of that on there. Not real heavy, but a decent coat. Just like that. Then we'll flip it over. Hit it again, generous amount. 16 mesh black pepper. Just like that. Give it a good pat in. And you notice I don't use no binder. It's because this meat is tacky, and really, I ain't used a binder in years. I don't see the point in it. If it needs to stick, I just spray a little water on it. Come back. We'll hit it with seasonal again. A general coat, not a real heavy coat. Try to get the sides a little bit. Just get it all patted in. Just like that. And there you have it, folks. Good seasoned up spare rib. I'm doing this the day before I'm smoking to get it out of the way. It does not hurt if you season your meat the day before. It just saves you a little bit of time on the day that you gotta smoke. These will sit in the fridge overnight. I'll look at them again, see how the seasoning's soaked in. Need to do a little touching up, I will. But other than that, those look good to me. Alright, so the next thing I'll be cooking for my 4th of July dinner is this here brisket. Really the best one I could find in my area, which wasn't that good at picking, but we'll make do with what we got. I already see right down the side right here, got all that oxidation and fat on there. I'm gonna go ahead right off Jump Street and trim that off. Come down the side and see what I really got here. Just by that, I can tell this brisket, it's not really that great of quality. On the flat end, it don't have a lot of marbling on it. Now, I can see down the side of my brisket, I can see how thick that fat cap is. I like to do that down both sides right off Jump Street. I'm going to switch to a sharper knife, by the way. And there, I can see what I'm dealing with right there. The big pocket of fat right there. From there, I'll go ahead and I'll turn this thing over. On this point, it's real flappy right there and real thin. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. That'll make some good sausage meat right there. I'll go ahead and cube it up while I got it right here on the board. We'll round it off. I can tell I'm not gonna have to remove no fat right here. Pretty thin. The fat does get thick right there though. And I've scalped it right there, but I'm really not that worried about it because I'm trimming that off right there. Matter of fact, that right there, it can come off. You can see that doesn't have a lot of marble in it. I'll have to really baby this brisket for it to be successful. But hey, that's what makes a good pit master a good pit master. Take a shitty brisket, make it into a good brisket. We'll see. Some folks may think that I'm really trimming the shit out of this. It's because I am. I'm trimming the shit out of it because I don't want to be out here all day. I want to make it into a smaller brisket. I want to make it into a smaller brisket. Not be out here for a long time. This could have sat in the freezer a little bit longer. This fat cap just ain't real thick, which is kind of a good thing. I don't have to do a lot of trimming on the fat cap. Right there at work. I can deal with that. I got this little piece of mohawk hanging off right there. I'll go ahead and cut it off for the sake of making this aerodynamic. that's starting to look good, except for on this point right here. I'll turn it around this way where you guys can see what I'm doing. That's a real thick piece of fat. You always want to trim your fat cap first. So your fat don't start getting not cold, it gets harder to trim. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that number right there. Kind of round that off a little bit better. I'm satisfied with that. Probably not my best trim job to date, but for this fat cap side, I can live with it. I could sit here and trim all day long if I wanted to. That's the harsh reality of a brisket. It's just how much do you want to trim? This is backyard barbecue. But the whole idea of trimming that flat like I just trimmed it is to get it even from right here to over here, which we have achieved that. Take some of this silver skin off. Not gonna spend a whole lot of time on it. That deckle fat down. Time to turn it sideways a little bit. Trim down here and make it a little bit of aerodynamic. Like I said, it's good enough for me. This is our non-presentation side. We'll hit it with some pepper. 16 mesh to be exact. Make sure you get all the sides. Pat that in real good. And we'll hit it with the Bondler's Fiesta Seasonal. We'll hit it with the Bondler's Fiesta Seasonal salt. Generous coat of that. Not too much though. The thing with any meat is you use too much of the seasonal salt on there, it will cake up and it won't do good. Especially on the side you're trying to set the bark on. So you need to be liberal with it, but not heavy, if that makes any sense. And I almost broke my own cardinal rule right here, getting ahead of myself. Pepper first. Always pepper first, folks. Pat your pepper in. Make sure you get your sides. Now you put your seasonal on. That seasonal gives it a good color. Just starting out. And just like the ribs, I am seasoning this a day ahead. Brisket surely will not hurt to season it a day ahead. Make sure you get your sides. Always get your sides, folks. Some people don't like doing the sides because of a certain person. I don't care about that. I'm doing my sides. All right, folks. And that is our Walmart special brisket, all seasoned up, trimmed even, aerodynamic. Now it's up to me not to screw it up. Next time you guys see me, I'm gonna throw this on the pit. All right, guys. Well, we got it in the firebox already. Got some cheap charcoal just to start the fire. You don't need that fancy lump charcoal or none of that expensive stuff. The cheapest charcoal you can find, because the wood is ultimately gonna be your coals. A little piece of bark. I'll throw that right there. We're gonna start out with just some dry water oak. I'm gonna burn down for the coal bed. One piece right there. One piece right there. A little bit bigger piece right here in the middle. Again, this is just for the coal bed. We want it to burn down quick, so it is split up in a little bit smaller logs than usual. Right there. Right there. Put one right there. Got another little piece of bark here. I'll put it right there. All right, folks. That is going to be the base for our coal bed. It'll get to burning, and then we'll come back and smash it down and throw our meats on. Stay tuned. All right, folks. The time has come to put the meat on. Coal bed is just about burned out. This is typically when I like to put my meat on. We'll go on with the brisket first. That's what it looks like after sitting overnight. Everything is sweated in. It's going to create a very good bark. So I like to put the briskets on my pit about right there, with the point facing toward the fire. The heat to hit that point, I will have to fold this point because I have to take some of it off, so I don't have that fat on there protecting it. But nonetheless, that's a pretty uniform brisket. It's going to set up, make a good nice bark with it sweating in overnight. That's seasoning. Next up will be our ribs, and that's what those are looking like after sitting up overnight. Also, put the rib right there, that rib right there. That's what that rib's looking like. We'll put it right here. Leave a little bit of space in between them. I'm gonna take and switch these around. This rib is bigger, so it'll see more heat right here in the middle. This rib is not as big. This right here is the coldest part of my pit. That's the hottest part over there, the medium. The middle is the happy medium and all this. My whole idea today is to smoke all this meat the day before, rest it, and cut it up tomorrow, which is good with brisket. I've done it with ribs a few times, so I know it will work. So along the way, I'm going to show you my little tips and tricks, what I do when I'm smoking multiple meats, and what I've been doing since I've been taking this break from YouTube. I've been experimenting with new stuff, and I've got some things I like to do that I'm going to share with you guys. Let's go put our flavor wood on. Stay tuned. All right, folks, as you can see, the coal bed is about burnt down. I'm going to gently break this up. Gently break that up, don't stir up too much ash. And we're going to put our next wood on. What I've got right here is a nice, dense, heavy piece of red oak. And I'm going to put it right there, directly on the coals. What I've got next is a nice, dense piece of live oak. Some stuff I cut last summer. Just now got somewhat dry to use. I'm going to put it down right there. And I know this is different from what I normally do, but I've gotten in a habit where I like to take and cold smoke my meats for about 2 hours, anywhere from 180 to 225. With this setup right here, I'll let it do its thing. In the end, it gives you more smoky flavor, and it also helps with fat render over time. So that's starting to catch a little bit. And to do this, you have to have a large, screaming hot coal bed. If you dump just a little bit of charcoal from the chimney in there and try to do this, it'll burn for about 30 minutes, and then you'll be fighting it for another hour or two. Big coal bed, big dense pieces of wood equals good, clean, cold smoke. So I'm gonna get this closed down, and probably here in about 2 hours, we'll come back and check this and see where we're at. Stay tuned. All right, folks, so here's what I was talking about right here. My smoker looks like it's going to settle in at about 225. It's been about 15 minutes since we put those dense logs on. This gauge is reading just slightly higher, but it always does. We got nice, clean, cold smoke coming out up there. Kind of hard to see on a clear day. That's what I'm wanting right now. I want to cold smoke it. This is where you set your color in. This is where you get your flavor at. So anyway, I just wanted to bring y'all in for that. Give you a little sneak peek of the fire since we put it on. And it's burning real low and real slow. And that's what I want. A real slow, low, slow fire. Cold smoke this meat. Next time you guys see me when we manage this fire, stay tuned. Alright folks, time has come to end the cold smoke. It's been roughly 2 hours since we started the cold smoke. Open up the firebox, see what we got. Quite a bit of that big log burning away, just slowly burning. That's what you want when you're cold smoking, adding that flavor on there. But now it's time to incorporate these into our channel logs. Just like that. Clean the fronts out. Dump your ash off to the side. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit so we can get started. What I'm going to go on with next is flat pieces of red oak. Put one right there. And one right there. And let it do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and close my firebox door down. It's about 2 inches open. Let it do its smoking. The smoke right here at this point will be kind of heavy. until it catches up. The cold bed's still hot enough to catch those channel logs on. So I'll give y'all a peek of what our meat looks like after that 2-hour cold smoke. And that's what we're looking like. We got real good color, a mahogany color on the ribs and the brisket. Kind of hard to see because how smoky it is, but you see that red color on there? That's what you want. So the next time you guys see me, it'll be in another 2 hours. We manage that fire, and we should have our bark set by then. We'll check and see. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're 20 minutes removed since we last managed a fire. And I just wanted to show y'all where my pit is. Almost at 275. That's where this thing likes to play at. Got plenty of good smoke coming out. And we're about 265-ish, rounding about. But the fire is burning low and slow, and that's what you want. Good barbecue takes time. You got to take your time with this stuff. If you don't take time with it, you rush it, it doesn't come out good. If you're going to fire up this pit in the 100-degree weather out here, then I'm going to make it worth my while, and I'm going to take my time and burn this fire low and slow. Anyway, I just wanted to bring y'all in for that. Stay tuned. Alright folks, time has come to manage this fire. It's been roughly about an hour and a half. We've got out of this setup. There's still some life left. Some of the logs. So I'm going to roll these down. And move them around just like this. And that'll get us burning back right. I'm going to move my coal bed up a little bit more. And what I'm going to do from here is go on with a dense piece of live oak. Set it right back here. And a dense piece of red oak. Right there in the front. Close this door down to about 1 inch. And let it do its thing. That'll last me probably another hour, hour and a half. We'll see what we get out of that. Maybe even 2 hours, as hot as it is out here. A lot of people ask why I don't use a damper, because I don't have one. I built this pit with just the right amount of stack. I have experimented with a damper on it, and when I put a damper on it, it just don't act right. I adjust my airflow from the door versus most people adjusting it from a damper. But anyway, that's taken off. We'll come back and check on this here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see if our bark's set. Stay tuned. Alright guys, back with a little temperature update. We're sitting just a hair above 275, holding steady. Good clean smoke coming out of the stack. These first 4 hours we put pretty much all the smoke we want to put on them. Now we're just focused on burning a cleaner fire. And you can see my smoker is dialed in. The back gauge is at 275 also. Come around here to the fire. We're running a nice low and slow fire, burning right along. Close this door back down so it don't get too wild to about 1 inch, and we'll let it carry on. Our next step up will be checking on the ribs. We'll be getting close to glazing them and checking the brisket for bark set and make sure nothing's burning on the edges. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so we're about 5 hours in. It's time to hit our ribs with a little bit of my rib mop or glaze, whatever you want to call it. It's not really glaze because it's not sweet. As you can see, our ribs are a little bit dark. That comes with using the live oak. You can see they're nice and juicy, pliable. They're looking real nice. So what I'm going to do is come right in here, hit them with this glaze. A generous amount. Kind of pat it around a little bit. Do the same thing with this rack right here. Basically what this is mustard, ketchup, apple cider vinegar, seasonal salt, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and some red pepper. Pretty much all that's in that. What this will do is help out with color, keep the outside hydrated, just add a slight layer of flavor on there. And the brisket, still got a long ways to go. It don't look like nothing's burning, so I'm not going to worry about full tipping. The tip, I will pick it up, give you a little look at it right quick. That's what it's looking like. Everything's looking nice. Everything's on track. I'm not in a rush on none of this stuff. I'm going to let it smoke. The smoker's been going between 250 and 275. I'm just letting it carry right on through. These ribs will probably be ready to wrap here in about an hour and a half. Let that excess run off just a tad. And we'll get this closed down. But one thing I am ready to do is to go manage this fire. Stay tuned. Alright folks, 5 hours in, it's time to manage this fire once more. You can see our dense logs still got some life left in them. Especially that live oak. So we'll go ahead, we'll turn these sideways like that. And we'll go on with our next logs, which is going to be another piece of live oak. Right there. Another dense piece of red oak. Let's go right here. We'll close this back down and let it do its thing. I've been rolling like this all day. This is not typically how I manage my fires, but it's been a nice cooler day here in Southeast Texas. So I ain't been worried so much as a setup for burn time. Been worried more as a setup for optimal smoke flavor. This is going to give you that when you're rotating these top logs down to channel logs and combusting more wood than just what I typically do. We're going to close that down. It's taken off to about 1 inch. We're going to let it do its thing. I'll bring you guys back when I wrap these ribs and do more fire management and when we check on the brisket. Stay tuned. Alright folks, we are officially at the 6-hour mark. It's time to wrap our ribs. What I'm going down with here is my homemade barbecue sauce. I've made a few tweaks to it here recently. I will put the recipe in the comments. Go down with a generous layer of that. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, that looks about right. And as you can see, that's what we're looking like at the wrapping point. Nice color, a little bit on the dark side, but everything's rendering out nicely. It's time to wrap. Once these are wrapped, these will take roughly about another hour to cook. Hit the back side with some sauce. What I like to do is kind of spread it out on the back side. And what we'll do next is wrap her up. What I like to do is take it, fold this over like that, Squeeze that edge in, kind of conform to it a little bit. Fold that over like that. Fold this over like that. Again, make sure everything's nice and tight. Come in here with your fingers and get that curvature right there. And fold this over. Just like that. And we'll do it again. I like to double wrap my ribs. And then here just like that. Roll your fingers down in there. Wrap everything up. Nice and tight. Just like that. And back onto the pit we go. We'll do our second rack of ribs, same thing. Put down a generous portion of our sauce. This is a smaller rack. That's what that one is looking like right there. We'll put it down, meat side down just like that. Catch the back with some sauce. I have made a few little slight tweaks to my sauce, adding more honey to it. Kind of taking a little bit of a page out of everybody else's book, specifically Bar A Barbecue, and incorporated into the sauce that I make. And in my opinion, made it better. Flies. All right, same difference, guys. Come in here like that. Get a little tuck action going on there. Get that folded in like so. Fold it on up. Nice and tight. You don't want no air gaps in that. You want everything to be nice and tight. Double fold. Just like that. She's wrapped up. Nice and tight. Like I said, these will go on about another hour, hour and a half. We will not open them back up again until we rest them overnight in the oven. And while I got the pit open, I'll bring you in and let you check out our brisket. And that's what the brisket's looking like. Still got a long ways to go. The fat is starting to render just a little bit up on top. But like I said, it's got a long ways to go. That brisket's got another 5 to 6 hours. But anyway, I'm gonna go check on this fire. I got a feeling it's time to manage it. Stay tuned. Time to manage this fire. You can see channel logs are gone, so we're gonna roll these down for a minute. And turn that sideways. Gonna bury these down in there a little bit, just like that. And we're gonna go on with 2 more pieces of red oak. One right there. And one up here, spaced fairly far apart to get a slower burn and not as hot of a burn, because I've still got a brisket on there that I'm babying. We just wrapped up the ribs, so we don't want to get too aggressive with it yet, because we still got a brisket on there. That right there get me through another hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll close that down to about 1 inch. Let it do its thing. Next time you guys see me, it'll be when we pull the ribs off, and I'll show you what I look for when I go to pull ribs off. Stay tuned. Alright folks, time has come to check on our ribs. And what I like to look for in my ribs, I can pick them up and they bend real easy. I did wrap these pretty tight. So I'll take this first layer of foil off. And those, when you can wave them back and forth like that, they are done. That rack anyway. So I'll pull this one off. And we'll check this one. I might be able to feel it through. Oh yeah, I don't have to pull the second layer off of that one. I can feel it through. When you can feel it and it feels like it's about to break right there, that's how you know them ribs are done. They are done. So I'll pull them off and let them rest till tomorrow. And my brisket, it's still got a pretty good ways to go. It's starting to release some moisture. Got some pulling on it. You see, that's what that's looking like. We'll move it more right here toward the middle now. We got them ribs out of the way. I am going to go ahead and put some tin foil over the point to protect it. Put that on there nice and tight, just like that. And that'll protect the point in. We didn't have no fat left on it. But it's still got a ways to go. It's still stiff. Some of the fat up top starting to render it a little bit. But we got a ways to go on that brisket. So it's time to manage the fire again. Maybe I can get that done without it raining on me. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so we're roughly about 7 hours in. We're managing the fire again. I just pulled the ribs. They finished up. It's time to manage this fire and focus on finishing the brisket. As you can see, everything burned up just about. Still some life left of that one right there. So I'll put him right here. Chop these up. Don't stir it up too much though. You'll put a bunch of ash in there. I'm gonna roll this guy in the middle because it's not gonna be long. He's gonna be burned up instead of making him a new channel log. Clean the front of the coal bed out real good. Let's go on with our next logs. We're just going on with some plain Jane red oak. Not real dense, not real dry. Ought to just burn real good for us. Just like that. Everything's spaced out nice and wide so it don't take off and get wild. And that I'd burn with no problems. So we're going to close that down to about 1 inch. And we're going to go put this camera up because it's starting to rain. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so we're roughly 8 hours into this cook. Let's check this brisket and see if the fat started rendering yet on top. Definitely got good color, black gold. Oh yeah, it's getting soft. We're getting there. Got some pulling over here. It's washing off the bark a little bit. That tends to happen. That's what the brisket is looking like right there, folks. It's looking good. Like I said, I got some pulling back here on the flat, but the fat is starting to render. Put me on a little Pitmaster stack, that right there. It's best stop boudin. Some of the best boudin you can get right there. If you ever see it, I highly encourage you get it. Stay tuned. Alright folks, brisket's still on. Let's manage the fire. We got a solid 2 hours out of that setup burn time. And some nice coals. And we're just gonna keep on going on with the red oak. One right there. One right there. One right there. And a flat log right there. And that's coal bed is screaming hot. And we'll let that do its thing, close it down. Here in about 2 hours, I hope to wrap this brisket and maybe manage this fire one more time, finish it up. It's going to be about a 10-12 hour brisket. Just keep in mind our first 2 hours were the cold smoke. So really, we got about 6.5 good hours of 275, 250 on it, and 2 hours of 180, 220 on it for the cold smoke. So anyway, I'll bring you guys back when we get ready to wrap. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so the brisket, and this is what she's looking like. Looking real good, nice and dark. So we're going to set this brisket right here. Move that off of there. Our fat is nice and soft and rendered on here. We did have some pulling right there. It's going to affect the bark a little bit, but it'll be alright. Filling underneath here to the sweet spot. Still got a little ways to go, but I estimate we're right toward the end of the stall. So we're going to pour some tallow over this. Tallow is your friend with brisket. Don't be shy with it. We're going to start the wrapping process. So when I wrap briskets, we can move this up a little bit. I like to come right here, fold it underneath this flat like that, and straighten out my edge. Like that. Somewhat straight, not perfectly straight. And vice versa, same thing on this side. Come right here, tuck it around this point, nice and tight. Straighten out this edge, just like that. Grab hold of it, make sure everything's tight. Come over one time, hold it real tight. Make sure everything's formed around it, real nice. Fat cap is down now. You can see I've got some excess paper hanging out of this. So what I'll go ahead and do is fold it over for our final time. Just like that. And I can see I've got too much excess. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of that off. It's been a minute since I wrapped a brisket. What we'll do is we'll roll that back, this back right here, fold this. Underneath the brisket, just like that. pull it tight. Make sure everything's as tight as you can possibly get it. And back on the smoker it'll go. I guess to make this brisket, it's probably got about another 2 hours before it's done. If I had to peg it for an internal temp, I'd say it's around 175, maybe 180. So this will go back on the smoker. We've got to manage this fire one more time. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so this will probably be the last time we manage the fire. Let's open it up and see what we got. Yeah, they ain't quite burn away as much as I thought they would be. So we'll just sprinkle these on out in here, just like this. Move this coal bed up a little bit. And what I'm gonna go on next is big pieces of log here, semi-dense. Because at this point, our brisket's wrapped. So we just need something to carry the heat for the next 2 hours. Put one right there, just like that. And one right, two up there. I know that seems like a lot of wood. I can close down my firebox to about 1/2 inch and burn that real slow. And it don't matter if that bad smoke comes out. It'll carry me through the rest of this cook and finish that brisket out. If the brisket wasn't wrapped, I wouldn't do that. Next time you guys see me, when we pull this brisket, stay tuned. Alright folks, the time has come. Check this brisket. We are 11 hours into this cook. When we wrap the brisket, we're about 9.5 hours in it. So I got a feeling we should be done. So as you can see, the butcher paper is soaked, which is a good thing. Just by pressing on the top, got a lot of give, but where you tell where your brisket's done or not is right up underneath here, where the point meets the flat. And pressing up into there, there's a lot of give. It's almost like a wet sponge. I can jam my fingers up in there and it comes back. Not bounces back, but comes back gradually. That tells me that this brisket is done. So the next thing I'll do, which I won't video it because it's kind of hard to do it without help, is I will take this paper brisket and I'll wrap it up real tight. After it cools for a little bit, I'll wrap it up real tight in plastic saran wrap, put it in my oven to rest overnight at 145, and then we'll cut it in the morning. Let's see how we really did. So next time you guys see me, we'll be cutting into this. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so it's the next day. These spare ribs have rested roughly about 16 hours. I've never rested them that long before. About 8 hours as long as I've rested them. So we're going to see how well this worked out. They feel tender. Let's unwrap them and see what we got. And they are super tender. Hope they're not too tender. So we'll flip these over, take a look at the front side. And they are cooked very nicely. Go ahead and cut us a few bones off. Oh yes. Where I really like to judge a rib and where it's done at is right here. As you can see, that's nice, juicy, rendered. You can see the cartilage right here has gone a little translucent. Beautiful bark, beautiful color. These ribs are fixing to be money. Look how juicy that is. overnight rested ribs. This beautiful bark on there. Look at that. Now, let's get us a taste test. Alright, here's our taste test rib. Good fat render, nice and tender. Looks real good. Only one thing left to do is take a good clean bite off of this. Good clean bite. Very good smoke flavor. The sauce, you get the sauce on there. The pepper's good. I'm talking clean off the bone, folks. And this is rested overnight. 16-hour rest. This is 4th of July day. I've got a guest here fixing to eat these ribs. And quality is not wavering. I may have to do this more often. If I could get all my smoking done a day ahead of an event, this is totally worth it. And it's not too tender where it's falling off the bone, just to be clear. But it's tender enough to get you a nice, clean bite. So folks, this right here was definitely a success. That's the part I didn't cut. Nice, dark bark, red mahogany color on there. This is exactly how I like to do my ribs. Now that I know that I can rest these ribs for 16 to 20 hours, I'm fixing to start rolling with it, man. Because I ain't gonna lie, spending 2 days out here at this pit in the middle of July with no shade out here, it's pretty freaking rough. It was hot yesterday doing these brisket and ribs. We'll take one more rib out just to show you guys how juicy that is. Nice clean bite all the way through to the bone. Perfectly cooked rib. My initial thought was, just by filling these to the full, they may be overdone. But after cutting them and taking a bite, they're perfectly tender. It's right on the money. It's some of the best spare ribs I've made in a very, very long time. Another thing I really like to do is I like to dip that rib back in the full of the sauce. And that's very good. So folks, overnight rested spare ribs is a thing. You can do it. I highly recommend it. Nothing wrong with it. You got a work function coming up. If you've got 4th of July coming up like I do today, you got guests coming over, you want to do all your smoking a day ahead of time, you can do it. Rest your ribs overnight. I rested these ribs in my oven overnight at 150 for 16 hours, and they are money. Nothing wrong with them. The quality is not down on them. It's juicy. Looks just like something you'd find in a Texas barbecue restaurant. Look how juicy that rib is. Just juice is flowing out of it. That overnight rest did the trick on these. Now I gotta take another bite. That's so fucking good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Alright, so next up is gonna be our brisket. I'm gonna try to shoot some quality video on the brisket, but I don't want to be too rude to my guests and sit out here and hog it and cut all the custom cuts off of it. We may take 1 or 2 slices off of the brisket, be brief about it, and then my guests will eat for 4th of July. Alright folks, so now it's time to check out our brisket. It's been resting roughly about 13 hours. What I was mentioning yesterday is I like to take these briskets when they're in the paper. When they get done and cool down a little bit, I like to wrap them up in plastic saran wrap real tight and rest them overnight. That being said, we'll get this cut open. Get that saran wrap off. Get the saran wrap off, and let's do the big reveal. I was hoping to get this film while it was cloudy, but the sun has popped back out on me, so I gotta move before my camera gets too hot. And that's what we're looking like, folks. A real pretty brisket. Just like that. Held it overnight for 13 hours at 150 degrees. You can see it's jiggly. I did have a little bit of bark wash off right here. Still tender, not overcooked, real flexible brisket. So my tail of the tape, where I like to start at, is how good you really did. It's cutting this first piece off the flat right here. And looking at the fat render right there, you can see the fat is rendered. It's yellow. It's real juicy. That's what you want. Just like that. Alright, with that being said, we'll move on to the money shot. I hope this lighting is going to be good because the sun came out and it's really bright. And there's money shot number one, and that looks awesome. Fat's rendered nicely up top. The flat is juicy. That's what you want. We'll come right here, we'll slice the point in half. Oh, this brisket's cooked perfect. And that looks awesome as well. The fat is rendered out nicely. That's what you want. That is my favorite cut of brisket right there. Passes the bend test like that. The fat is rendered out nicely. Let's take one more slice from this point. Oh, that brisket's tender. For a cheap choice brisket, that was not bad. Not bad at all. The fat is rendered out nicely. You can see that yellow fat right there at the fat cap. And I'll get this brisket covered back up. I've got to move quick. I've got guests here waiting to eat some brisket. Alright, again, there's that nice rendered down end piece. It's real juicy. Fat is rendered out on top. I'm going to take a quick bite of this. That's perfect. Nothing wrong with that. That's how you know you cooked your lean good. That end piece comes out juicy. And a lot of that's attributed to trimming the flat down evenly also. It's alright. Here's our next piece. You can see that fat is perfectly rendered up top. That's the way that's supposed to be. Trying to give you a good camera angle of that. The lighting out here is a little jacked up. What I like to do is I fold it in half like that and I take a bite of both at once. I nailed this brisket. You get great smoke flavor, salt, seasonal salt. You get the pepper. Most of all, it's cooked perfectly. Comes right apart. Not too tough, but also not too tender. And it's just overall awesome piece of meat. Alright, that was our flat. Here is the point. Look how good that's cooked. The fat cap is right here. It rendered down into it. Perfect little fat cap right there. I like to take that bite off this edge right over here. That's money. That's how you know you rendered that fat down real good. The fat is real rich, sweet, caramelized, and rendered down. You can't beat that. That is awesome. Mm. All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. Camera's probably fixing to get too hot. The sun's cooking me out here. I got guests waiting on this brisket inside. I told them I'd make this quick. Thanks for watching Mike Brown Barbecue. Please like and subscribe. Some of y'all have wondered where I've been at. I've just been busy with life. Been working a lot. I've got a baby on the way. Uh, Life's been real busy. I've had kids in sports, select baseball, soccer, you name it. I've been real busy, so I haven't had necessarily a lot of time to shoot YouTube. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm just set up right here in my backyard doing this stuff for fun. Uh, I make very little money off of YouTube. I am monetized, but it's like maybe $100 every couple of months, maybe not even that. Uh, all my equipment is outdated. I shoot on a Sony ZV-1. I got an old tripod right here. This is a Walmart table, cheap cutting board, cheap knives. I just do this for the sole purpose for you guys, entertainment. I don't expect to get big at it. I don't expect to get rich off of it and make this big living. I enjoy watching other YouTube content creators. Uh, I don't have the on-camera charisma some of the other guys do. I just get out here and I do the best I can with it, and hopefully that's good enough for you guys. But the videos will be few and far between. They're not going to be pumped out at the volume they were pumped out. I do apologize about that, but outside of YouTube, I do have a life. Things get busy. I do apologize for that, but I will continue to put videos out when I can. I'll try to get a few more shot this summer. I do have to shoot a sausage video for Celebrate Sausage. I'm not going to disclose what that is right now. It's going to be kind of like a surprise, but I am going to do something outside the box for Celebrate Sausage Season 5. They reached out to me. I agreed to shoot them a video. So that is coming down the pipeline too. But anyway, just a little quick recap of where I've been, what I've been doing. I haven't stopped barbecuing. I've been barbecuing. I just ain't been filming. Tried new things, shared some of that with y'all today in this video. And I just hope y'all continue to subscribe and continue to watch and support the other barbecue YouTubers out there, the little guys, the up and coming channels. I watched a brisket video last night because I like watching barbecue YouTube videos for entertainment, and stumbled upon a channel called Meet and Greet. It's going to be the next big barbecue YouTube channel. I suggest y'all go give him a subscribe and watch some of his content. It's real high quality, and his own camera skills is great. He's going to be good. But anyway, thank y'all for watching.